Not a Shigeki, dude. No way. Oh, we drew it. All right. This is what dreams are made of, chat. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. And I know I've been playing a lot of spicy lists, but my lord, do we have Mind Splice Apparatus in the same deck that we have Bloodletter of Aclazotz and Rush of the Dread. You want to talk about a hype deck in terms of doing really cool things for really cheap. We actually have a turn in which we have a Mind Splice in play, activated, getting a lot of counters on it, in which we cast a Scrutiny for a ton, hitting the Bloodletter with a Rush of Dread, casting Bloodletter and rushing the Dread in the same exact turn. It is actually quite insane how much mana Mind Splice actually saved us in those matchups, but what is our game plan and how are we attempting to do it here? So our main game plan is kind of obvious with Bloodletter in play. If you don't know the combo, I'll go over it very quickly, but Bloodletter doubles damage pretty much. Just say whatever damage your opponent takes, they take double that. Rush of the Dread says your opponent loses half their life rounded up, so if they're at 20, they would take 10. Pretty simple. But because it says it's not, I guess if they lose life, it's not damage, it's technically different. Some rules experts will be a little upset that I said it the way I did. But if they lose life, they do double that. So double 10 is 20, they automatically die. So basically, if you have Bloodletter in play and resolve Rush to Dread on the bottom mode, no matter what life total your opponent is at, they will lose the game because it rounds up instead of down. Therefore, there is no chance that they'll live. They'll either go to 0 or -1, and they'll lose the game with this combo. So outside of that, we have some very cool and interesting cards, especially whenever you see Mind Splice Apparatus in the deck. This card is flash. We want to play it as soon as possible to get the most value out of it as possible. And if you're not entirely sure, the reduction on Mind Splice Apparatus actually discounts the spree cost inside of cards. So as you can see here, this spree, this spell's obviously not 3 mana. It's 3 mana +1 or +2 or +2. But those are actually kind of deceiving on the fact that they're in the bottom text box. Those actually count for the spell's cost in the top. Therefore, they can be reduced by Mind Splice Apparatus. So the idea is if Mind Splice is on 3 and has 3 counters, Rush of the Dread costs 2 black mana to make them lose half their life total. So this combo here only becomes 6 mana to play it all in one turn. So other things that we get off this because of that is the fact that 3 steps ahead, now we can counter a spell for 2 blue mana and draw 2 cards for free if Mind Splice has enough counters on it. And same with the Phantom Interference. We've had a situation where it has 4. We spend 1 blue mana, we make a 2/2 and counter their spell unless they pay 2. So it has a lot of synergy there. Other than that, we have Silver Scrutiny, which is kind of the automatic 4 of that goes with any Mind Splice Apparatus deck. It is 2 blue mana, draw as many cards as this has counters on it, preferably. Other than that, you are using it on your opponent's end step to draw 3 on their end step, which can either force out a counter spell, loosening up their hand for you to kind of get the combo to resolve, or you just get more cards in your hand for those aggro matchups, but don't have to necessarily tap out on your turn to give them the green light to hit you for a ton. So other than that, obviously long intro, a lot of complicated cards in this deck, so I kind of wanted to go over them before we hop into the matches so you can kind of see the game plan that we were going for. And other than that, let's go ahead and see how those games ended up going. Oh my lord. I guess we needed them to be playing a creature deck, probably. Sure. I'm just keeping this basically because I'm on the play with pretty much good removal. Vampires, maybe? You don't really see the... I don't know. Could just be domain. Alright, I do not need another copy of Rush to Dread. I promise you, game. Don't need more copies of this card in my hand. Yeah, it's just Grixis. Here's Magda. Honestly, do I just like use one of these Rush of Dreads next turn? I think so. Just keep my go for the throat for kind of the I'm not guaranteed to rip a land here, so you know, maybe they have Spell Pierce. Thoughts? Nope. Okay, that's gone. You get like Deep Cavern batted or something. How does Magda work? Whenever you commit a crime, create a tap treasure token. This ability triggers once. Okay. Karavek, pretty good card. I'm gonna fire this off. I'm not really worried about getting Bloodletter down until I'm ready. They're also missing land drops, which tells me their hand's obviously full of kind of interaction. Also, my hand is full of interaction. I just haven't played creatures yet. Alright, this is the chance. We establish Bloodletter. Maybe they play another creature. And then we can go for the rush. Uh-oh. You have two. Maybe they have Spell Pierce, or maybe they just know. Nope. Yep. They just knew they didn't have it, so they just took the other spell. Man, what a weird game to start off with, huh? It's kind of tough, especially like I was kind of excited. These are the matchups that make me upset. Whenever you get a interesting and kind of cool deck, like I haven't seen this list in a very long time. Any Grixis pile, and it's just like they miss land, so we don't really get a game out of it. But we did win with the combo, so it is what it is. My opponent is first. I have no play for 3 turns. They're a slower deck. This hand's really good. Looks like it's Golgari. Very cool. Never be upset about Golgari trying to be represented. Never mind. It's Sultai. Last Sultai deck I played was a Roots version, but who knows? Oh, it's humans? I'm just going to play this. I mean, if they have humans, like, I can't counter it, so it's not like I can do anything about it. A Relic of Legends. This has to be a Slogurk pile. Which means maybe I shouldn't have let my counter spell down. I guess I get to pick this back up if that's the case, right? Yes. I'm really going to look to... Listen. Bless up. I'll take that any day of the week. I get to accelerate my mana base. Sure. Human. You'll have to figure out what version of humans we're against. It's not entirely sure. And they left mana, not necessarily down, but we could make them discard half their hand, which would leave them with 1 card. Well, that tweaked me. They like fade. They kind of go dark. That's weird looking. But they already put Besagio in play. There's Odawara here. Enti's attacking. That's fine with me. Get rid of that. Enti will trigger. Sure. Uh-huh. Or Surtai. Huh. It's still in a turn, I think, right? Sweet. You have to let this fully resolve, because then they can choose to do something else. Our Mind Splice comes in. Now we're cooking. I could just deadly cover this up. I could just let it all go. And 3 steps ahead is still a counterspell here, so yeah, why not? Off the board. And now we have a counterspell for something other than a human, if needed. Like that card. Yep, just like that, we get a win. Very cool. That board wipe was very clutch. Very, very clutch. When it goes first, my hand's like fine. These are kind of sus to have 2 of right away, but yeah, and it's kind of why. There goes the Ruckus. Which, if they're only mono red, this is actually good for us, because that means our removal is fantastic. If they show a white land, then it gets a lot more questionable, because then they have protection. Sweet. This is where we want to be. Not entirely sure if I'm supposed to let this kind of pop off. Like, sure, they'll get to draw a card, but who really cares in that spot? I guess I'll target wherever Ruckus goes here. It's like it's still going to be 4 damage, but I can at least in this case prevent like the card draw, because that'll go want to be 1 plus the 2-0, unlike Godric where it's just going to be 4. But at least this case they don't get a card draw out of it when I remove it on this turn. Obviously these are like fine, but right now holding this removal is way better. Worth land. Honestly, them hitting land's actually great for us, because that means there's just way less spells in their deck. 2-mana Ruckus. We'll just discard a card here. Get this one out of here. Just hope they're out of threats pretty much. They might have more, but their turns aren't going to look near the same. Yeah, Kamano is definitely not really where you want to be. Especially when I just play this. Get like a nice blocker in the way. Now they have to draw a threat here. They have another land. Don't quite have anything myself. Sure. Play this land because it's not as painful. I am actually getting aggressive with this Bloodletter. It could have a Witch Stalker Frenzy, I guess. I think that's what this is, but they could cast it no matter what. I'm not really sure what that card is. Maybe it's just like a Lightning Strike or Play with Fire or something. But here we get to remove this Kamano. Just discard this land, protect our life total. Pick this back up, replay it. And it all work out. Oop. Take that action. Get that off the battlefield. And this is why people genuinely don't play the mono red version very often. Like when you're trying to do the Ruckus plan. And they just opt to like kind of just be that hasty aggro deck. Because every time you play a Ruckus onto a creature and you don't have like the protection spells that you would get by playing white, or using the other spells that you get in terms of like maybe green, you can present like Snakeskin Veil or Royal Treatment. There's a lot of cards you can present, but in just red, I know my removal's clean. These Restless Reefs are mad annoying, but we'll keep this hand. Just hope to draw maybe like a Darkslick Shores or something. Make our hand connect a little bit better. Especially to remove this immediately, but we miss. Or like to have my counter spell up. But I do have the combo, so they do have to kill me pretty quick, I guess. Take a Scry, sure. Just hope for no Gleeful Demolition, but this is Basilion and Boros, so of course there is. Why wouldn't there be? Yep, Scry again, please. I would have loved to have my counter spell up, but because I played a second tap land, I lose the game. You would have thought. God, this game's so annoying sometimes. And turn. Okay, at least I can not have that kill me. I mean, we need a land, play Bloodletter, and survive, honestly. Play Bloodletter, don't get it hit with the case. And if it survives, I rush to the Dread and win. Or I get a case here and I lose. Very sweet. I just don't care to stay. Boros did his thing. Sure, why not? Another game. Another painful mana base. It's just like I can't... My lands just will not line up in a way that are very friendly. I have mono red pausing every 5 seconds. Super sick. Oh boy. Get you off the board. Not representing a counterspell here, so clearing the way is just best. That I do not care about at all. We know what this is. Got protection. But I'll take a 2/2 damage at any point. Sure. I can't counter that, can I? I can? For some reason, I didn't think you could. I mean, I guess it's still casting, right? Yeah, trust me, game. I knew what card it was. Alright, go for the win. Won't be blocking this face down card anytime soon. What a weird mono red start, right? I haven't been burnt. We know there was a pause on turn 1. But they had to have some amount of burn. Where this gets hit with double play with fire, which will fuel this to flip. How much is it? It's 6. The flip if it gets reduced by 1 for each instant sorcery. With Stalker Frenzy? Sure. This is where I have the second one and the combo piece comes into play. Give my damage again. You have a second Witch Stalker Frenzy. Very possible, but I would prefer that you don't. Don't. No blocks. Yep. GG's mono red with the quite awkward hand indeed. This one. Just like that, we do the combo, even against the aggro matchup. That's like one of the big differences between having a go for the throat and having a bitter triumph there. As you saw, we were able to kind of use this pretty cleanly. We didn't have to discard an extra card. And we always had like a nice clean removal spell for that we didn't have to take 3 for. If these were both bitter triumphs, we would have to be at, we'd either take 3, go down to 5, or take another one, go down to 2. If we wanted to use this and not take any, like, discard a card, which obviously we kind of needed all of our cards. But it is what it is. I do not think this hand is remotely capable with us being on the draw. We have like no early interaction. This is pretty much the same hand, but at least we have a third land and have a 3 steps ahead to maybe draw something or counter something. Oh, strap in. We got to play the longest game of all time just to get what any other matchup would be 2 minutes. Oh boy, I love this deck. And this is why it takes a while. Because it's turn 2 and our opponent's reading literally every single copy of this card to find out which one they need to play to go get their green source. Like I'm a prophet, dude. They just copy and paste the deck into Arena, and before even reading it, they just queue up and then just don't go and look. I mean, it's fine. I can't say I've never net decked before, but at the same time, it's like a lot of times you gotta know what your cards do, you know? Not necessarily even know what your cards do, just know which one of these you want to play and win. Yep. What do you got for me, opponent? I'd like for you to play something now. Oh, fantastic. The card is probably not going to be any value later, so we use it now. You have the combo ready. If Mind's Place gets a couple of counters on it, Rush of the Dread ends up... If it gets 3, the combo is only 6 mana. That's pretty sweet. Fire this off. I don't know if they have a counter spell. I really hope they don't. Or a Boseiju. I don't really think they have a way to remove an artifact in general, besides maybe a Boseiju, but I don't think they play any of those at all. Just doesn't seem quite up their alley. Now, we kind of have to wait 1 turn here. Technically, if I could even deadly cover up, I could exile all the World Soul Rages, but they could be playing negates. This I'm going to allow. We know what we have to counter in this matchup. If you've ever played this matchup, you know what it is. We have to counter the Amethyst and hope to God they don't play another one. Or that one. With no blue mana available, counter draw. I think I can do this. Yep. Oh, man. Just too awkward, huh? Let Deadly Cover Up go. Sure. Plunking's like fine. Plunking obviously good, but it's like There's not a Nissa in play. Nissa is their combo piece. Splunking's good. Not near as good. It's just short, right? Yeah, because I reduced the top, and then I had to pay 2. So my splice would have to be on 3. So I play this. Also, ooh, the black mana is there is going to kind of cost me, huh? Black mana is going to cost me a lot. Well, it's not going to cost me if Arena's not going to be stupid about it. Listen, man, I will take the 1 damage here. It's fine. Play my Bloodletter so I can cast my Go for the Throat. Thank you. And turn. I guess the only problem with this can be World Soul Rage, but maybe I messed up on my Darkslick Shores. Maybe I'm supposed to play it first. And then just wait 1 more turn and then play the untapped source and just go for it next turn. Because then I would have had the mana. Yeah, me holding this up kind of told my, like... It's one of the things where you got to slow down as a player. I held this up in the auto tapper. I only saw 2 blue being unhighlighted. So I didn't think I had the right mana for my stuff. When I clearly did. So... oh, man, that's annoying. Like, I basically had the right mana to... do what I wanted, and I just didn't do it instead. Kind of annoying. Not actually 5 mana. Like, yeah, it's like 4. Discard 3 cards in your hand, or 2 cards in your hand. Keep 1, go into top deck mode. They didn't have a land, so all these are something. 2 virtues? Wow. I could technically make them discard your last card. Man, I can't believe I messed that up. That's so annoying. Need to slow down. So they drew the land. At least I think. They didn't play one after Nissa, which seems weird. But I guess if it was a basic, they probably wouldn't. Silver Scrutiny would be best draw. Takenuma also wouldn't be awful. I think I would have the mana then for that. Or would I? No, I need a black source. Oh, Takenuma's in play. I can't do that. Not a Shigeki, dude. No way. Oh, we drew it. All right. This is what dreams are made of, chat. Let's go, chat. We win. Bada bing, bada boom. It says we can't pay it, but we sure can. Because Mind Splice reduces the spree cost. Oh boy, what a draw, play, and win. That is absurd. The worst part is most people aren't going to watch this match because they don't like the Dimir Amethyst list. Oh boy. Wow. I mean, we had a couple of rough games there, but outside that last one, I don't think it gets much better than the old spicy combo. There's only one issue in general that I have with this list. Maybe not even issue, but I think campaign is good, but this results in the same thing that Disinformation campaign was. Is sure it's 3 mana, but I never want to play this on turn 3. I much rather have this later, so I definitely think we can trim one of these. And I actually had a lot of mana struggle sitting at 24 lands, so maybe we do just put in another land. Maybe it's a Mirix or something, or just some untapped, maybe threat source land that we can play and fill in that spot. The only other thing as well, even though it did come up clutch a couple of times, but it's, I've been very vocal about not liking make disappear type effects, and I feel like this one's a little bit awkward. Now, I understand that this can be 1 mana, make a 2/2 counter a thing, but the problem is if our Mind Splice is in play and it's been cooking for that long, I don't think we're getting that ability. I almost want this to just be Syncopate, in this build, just because Syncopate, as we know with Mind Splice Apparatus, is just 1 mana counter unless you pay 5, and it generally never feels dead. Also, Syncopate exiles that spell, which can be very important in other matchups. For example, like in Dimir Amethyst, it'd have been much nicer if we would have syncopated the World Soul's Rage, because then they couldn't cycle Shigeki to get it back, right? So there's things like that that I didn't necessarily like a ton. I do think Deadly Cover-Up's very cool, especially on the fact that it's not ever really a dead card, but we can use it to exile important pieces against a lot of decks, because in our... I don't think blue would have a spell like that, but I don't think there's a black spell that is a permanent exile graveyard, like a Rest in Peace or Leyline of the Void currently in Standard. I could be wrong about that. So we kind of have to use Deadly Cover-Up to exile those pieces out of the yard. But other than that, I mean, what is there to say? Mind Splicing with Scrutiny is probably, if you love drawing cards, one of the sickest things you can do in Standard in general, because nothing is better than having a Mind Splice like we did on the last one, be it 4 counters, 5 counters, 6 counters, spend 2 blue mana and just draw 6 cards. It feels so good. It feels like a commander thing that you would do. That is so nice. It's so sick. And we saw that with these 2 kind of cards, obviously you could argue, well, if you played other cards, you wouldn't need these cards. For example, like a Memory Deluge or something. But it was so sick there to have this on 4, cast this Scrutiny for 4, by the way, draw a Bloodletter, and cast a Rush of the Dread. This reduced that situation's mana cost by 4 and then by 3. So we saved 7 mana on that turn while also casting a Bloodletter that turn. That's an insane amount of mana for this to kind of reduce and pay, because it doesn't just do it for one spell, it does it for all of them. And for example, if we were in a situation, this is why this card is kind of nice. If our opponent was down on mana and maybe they had Make Disappear, we have 1 blue, we can activate all these modes, because example, we had 4 mana. We could do all these modes for 1 blue, counter their thing, and make a creature on the back end. Or we could use this, even though you have to technically have 2 blue here, because the counter spell, target spell also has a blue in it. They did think about that on the spree card, but you do have to have 2 blue there. But then you could also create a token that's a copy of artifact or creature, which is another card, another piece of 3 steps ahead that's very nice. If you do have a Mind Splice Apparatus in play, you have 1 blue, and say this has somehow gotten to 3 counters on it, you could have a Bloodletter in play, and then say they go to remove this with their last bit of mana, you could then 3 steps ahead for 1 blue, because it's reduced by 3 from Mind Splice, have it copy the Bloodletter, so next turn you can win with the Rush of the Dread. So it's very cool in that retrospect, and the deck is sick. It was super fun to play. I actually prefer this version, not like if you're going to a competitive event, that's not what I'm saying. I prefer to play this list way more than I do the traditional blue-black, Deep Cavern Bat, Gix, things like that. I think this deck's just way more fun, and it's way more unique, and it's very cool to win with the Bloodletter and the Rush of Dread. I have to start coming around on this card, apparently, because before the set rotated, I was like, if you play Bloodletter, you're goofy. I hate it. Now, to be fair, I think it was a little bit worse, because you had to play the artifact, you had to make a copy of the Bloodletter and attack, and then it had to connect, and then it triple drained them. So I didn't like that. And people were like, yeah, but this is lethal, you just cast a spell and they die. And I'm like, yeah, but that's 5 mana in Standard against Boros, Mono Red, other Boros, heroic decks, all that nonsense. So I was kind of on the fence a lot about it, but it seems to work, at least, especially in best 1. Obviously, best 3 gets a little bit weirder, but also we bring in a lot more counter spells and stuff to protect the combo, so it's not as bad as you might think. But outside of that, I'm going to end the video here. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.